Hello, this is the Midday News. Thanks for joining us. To remove itself from the grey list, Papua New Guinea has 2.5 years to meet the 18 conditions given by the Financial Action Task Force. Co-chair of the National Coordinating Committee and Secretary of the Department of Justice and Attorney General, Dr. Eric Kwa, outlined this during a session that was conducted at the PNG University of Technology in Lae.
We went to Mexico and came back with the results. We came back with 18 conditions. People got 18 conditions, the people must meet him. And we have been given almost 2.5 years. 2.5 years to meet those conditions. And for my side, from the law and justice sector, some of those conditions that have given us, you have to amend some of your laws. Your laws you have passed, but there are a couple of gaps in those laws, please amend them. So
the people from Balam Gogom in Ward 1 of Ambenob local level government of Midday province were grateful for receiving 2 by 9,000 litres of water tanks, solar panels, solar lights, water pump, PVC pipes, amongst other accessories, as a gift from the International Organization for Migration. In a small but significant handover ceremony recently at Balam Gogom village, it was made known that during a series of earthquakes in 2024, the former councillor from Rodney Ceylon took the initiative to approach IOM for disaster assistance. This resulted in the organization conducting a community-based risk management plan training, not only to collect data, but also to assist the community. In overseas news, international travel has been plunged into chaos as major airports and airlines flying in the Middle East cancel flights.
It's utter chaos here right now. There is a lot of disgruntled, weary and really upset travellers here. I just spoke to a woman who has been here since last night. She went all the way through getting onto the plane, going through baggage, going through immigration, just to be told that her flight was cancelled. She hasn't been given any food and drink vouchers, no accommodation plans or anything, any kind of way to stay in a hotel. And she says there's been little to no communication with the airline. I'm actually where Qatar Airways is reportedly usually set up, and there's no staff here right now. She said that's left her really disgruntled, particularly after having not slept all night, just sitting in the airport itself. There's been over 11,000 flights cancelled globally. Of course, the Middle East is a connection hub for so many flights across the world, and large parts of that airspace was virtually just there was no flights at all overnight, which never happens, of course. Here's what some people had to say at the airport this morning about their experience.
Well, I spent over $4,000 on this flight. It's my mother's 90th birthday in 3 days' time. I'm not going to be there now. I can't stay in Australia indefinitely hoping that the war's going to end.
We have no communications from the airline, so we don't know what's happening. So I don't know how long we're going to sleep here.
We've literally come off the plane, so I have no news, I've no updates. What has gone on around you? Perhaps you can tell me the news.
I was screening my phone and I saw all the news, and I was like, I'm lucky that would be the last plane.
Yeah, so many disruptions across the globe, and I've just been looking through the flights that are scheduled for tonight. The flights going to the Middle East aren't at the moment. There's more flights going to Asian countries right now, but a couple of those flights have already been cancelled. A flight to Doha is cancelled. A couple of flights with Emirates are cancelled. That woman that I was talking to before, who was hoping to get on a flight tonight, when I was standing here interviewing her earlier, she just got a text from Sydney Airport telling her that the flight had been cancelled, and it's just people have no idea when they're going to have some clarity about getting home. Walking through the airport, it's just really sad. There's a lot of people who are really upset, and this has disrupted a lot of people's plans. Wild weather is continuing to batter communities across the Northern Territory.
While a monsoonal trough is developing over the top end, closer to central Australia along the Queensland border, emergency services have rescued 6 people from cattle stations who feared rising floodwaters.
From grazing pastures to an inland sea, hundreds of millimetres of rain over a week and a half, turning Tobermory Station into a sodden island. The cattle station managers airlifted to safety on Friday night. For weeks, Central Australia's been battered by rain, from the Simpson to the Barkly down to Alice Springs.
We don't usually see this amount of moisture hanging around for as long as we have seen in the last couple of weeks.
From Sunday, the Bureau of Meteorology says those widespread totals are finally set to ease, with thunderstorms expected to stick around. Authorities are warning Red Centre residents not to become complacent, despite sunny weather.
Just because you look outside at the moment, don't put your sandbags in the bottom of the chook pen at the moment. Hang on to them because there's more weather on the way over Sunday.
In Darwin, westerly winds are predicted to intensify, while early next week there's a low chance a tropical cyclone could develop off the Gulf of Carpentaria.
If tropical low 31U does move inland as a low pressure system, we'll be watching areas of rainfall and increased flood risk over the next week or so.
A wetter than average wet season, and it's not over yet.
There's been an increase in people joining target shooting clubs across New South Wales this year. It comes at the same time gun laws are being tightened following the Bondi terrorist attack. So what's driving the increase and what's the process for getting a license?
A firearm in Australia, you need to have what's called a genuine reason. That could be farming animals, killing pests, or preserving antiques. But to get a firearms licence can also be as simple as joining a sports club, with a few added steps. In New South Wales, around 70,000 people are already members of a sports shooting club, with more signing up.
They get invited to do a try shooting if they wish to, and the try shooting is important to us because we get to see more of them. Do we want them as a member? It's fairly important.
Range officers watch closely for any dangerous behaviour.
It really is up to them to decide if they deem someone fit to participate on the day. They might appear to be under an influence of something or behaving silly or making, dangerous comments or references, and we tolerate none of that.
If you're deemed fit to join, the next step is passing a firearms safety exam. That includes a written test with about 10 multiple choice questions, which range from identifying parts of a firearm to safe storage practices. Next comes a practical exam, where students have to prove whether a particular gun is safe to shoot.
Green light on, safe to move forward.
If they also pass the background checks, they'll be granted a 2-year licence. When not being used, any gun must be stored in a safe. There's been a recent spike in people joining sports shooting clubs, with more new members signing up in January than the sport usually sees in a year. The association's president believes it could be a reaction to the tightening of gun laws following the Bondi terror attack. Target shooters in New South Wales are now limited to owning a maximum of 10 firearms.
I enjoy shooting shotgun as well and other disciplines, so owning the firearms that I own now is going to restrict what I can do, so I have to choose one discipline rather than being able to do multiple.
John Lambert has been shooting for half a century.
At that stage, the instructors were mainly World War II veterans. They gave me one of the club rifles to take home and practice with on my grandmother's lounge room floor. So I'd practice there and then go back to the range.
A glimpse into how much the rules and the culture have already changed.
There's a museum here in Canberra that's not on the tourist trail. The Australian National University's Classic Museum was started in 1962 as a way of giving students studying the classics the chance to see and hold everyday objects from the ancient world. It now houses more than 600 artifacts, including some with a controversial history.
It doesn't look like much from the outside.
Some people can in fact complete an entire degree at ANU and not realise it's here.
But being inside the ANU Classics Museum is like peering into cupboards of an ancient home. Baby bottles, lamps, glassware and all the latest interior decor and kitchen gadgets.
I do love a little sieve that could well have been used for making cheese.
Without the funds to buy large antiquities, the museum began collecting objects that showcased the everyday lives of people living in ancient civilisations.
This is how they would have held it and dipped it in. Somehow it makes it all very real.
But building the collection hasn't been without difficulty. This Greek amphora was bought from Sotheby's of London. In 2022, the ANU became aware, via the Italian government, that it had been stolen by the tombaroli, or tomb robbers.
They had a Polaroid photograph that had been seized from a known dealer in illicit antiquities, and it matched our object.
It's been repatriated and is now on loan from the Italian government.
It's a very serious thing to have an object that was looted.
Like many museums, they no longer collect objects.
Basically, it's just too risky. Instead, what we're doing is that we're raising awareness about the ancient illicit antiquities market.
Each object tells a story. This humble big toe was found at a dig site in Syria, but the marble was found to have come from the Greek island of Paros.
This is a dynamic world with a lot of change and movement of people, of objects, of materials.
A foot in the door to knowledge of the ancient world.
Back home in sports, Papua New Guinean athlete Isila Apkop equalled her national indoor record of 7.46 seconds in the 60 meters dash on Saturday at the Rocky Mountain Conference Indoor Championships in Gunnison, Colorado, when she finished second fastest in the preliminaries. In doing so, Apkop qualified for the NCAA Div 2 Indoor National Championships, which will be held at the Virginia Beach Sports Center, Virginia, in 2 weeks' time. A sore hamstring prevented Apkop from competing well in the 60-meter final, and despite having qualified third fastest for the 200-meter final with a time of 24.85 seconds, she withdrew from the final to focus on recovery. Auckland FC, the inaugural OFC Pro League competition leader, held on to secure a narrow 1-0 win over Tahiti United in a weather-affected contest in Melbourne in a fixture in round 3 on Saturday. Both sides had seen their midweek fixtures postponed due to thunderstorms in Melbourne and were well rested following the extended break period. The league leaders were presented with a fantastic chance early to open the scoring when Isa Prince was brought down in the area by the Tahiti United goalkeeper, Tieve Teamotuaitu.
Auckland FC, the competition leader, has shown bravery and held on to 1-0 win against Tahiti in a match affected by bad weather in Melbourne. Both teams had their midweek games postponed because of thunderstorms, so they came into this match well rested. Auckland FC had a great chance early on when Isa Prince was fouled in the penalty box by Tahiti United goalkeeper Teamotuatau. The referee first waved play on, but after checking VAR, he awarded a penalty. Prince took the shot, but it was weak, and Teamotuatau saved it easily. Auckland thought they had scored later when Oscar Foltz put the ball into the net from the Jonathan Robinson cross, but VAR ruled Foltz offside. Tahiti United then had 2 good chances, with captain Teaunui Tehau forcing a save from Oscar Mason and Mateo De Grumel hitting the post. Thunder and Lightning stopped the match for 30 minutes late in the first half. When play resumed, Foltz almost scored again, hitting the crossbar. The only goal came in just after the hour mark. Teamotuatau made a poor pass and Matt Ellis took advantage, finishing calmly. Tahiti United pushed hard after falling behind, with Tehau going close twice, but Auckland FC held on. The win keeps them on top of the league, while Tahiti United remain close to the top 4.
And that ends the midday news. Do join us at 6 for more news and sports.